Alright, hello. Um, okay, this is super obsessive. Oh dear, I just noticed something else as well, just as I was just looking at this. This is Funeral Rites by Madonna, and I didn't know what we're going to call this. The 149, the 419. I'm not really quite sure what to call this video because this is the tying in with Madonna and her son Rocco Ritchie, and also a point in Funeral Rites with something she says. Okay, um, and what she says at this point, just this is what I just noticed, is at 149 in the Funeral Rites video. Okay, so this was the video. Coincidentally, before we get thoroughly into this, this was the video that she released earlier on in the year, and supposedly it was released on 227. At least when I looked it up to do with Ozzy Osbourne, I was getting 227. If you go to the actual video itself and click down here on the info, right, it's actually showing February the 26th. Now I know I'm like, I'm not going crazy, am I? It was definitely the 27th. So I went back to Google, and Google and YouTube are the same. Went back to Google and just typed in funeral rites just to see what date came up on that. Ah, look right here, February the 27th. And I'm thinking, so somehow they've managed to double date this. I don't know if that actually is possible. The only thing that I could think that would maybe double date it is if you uploaded it on the 26th and then made it public, made the video actually public on the 27th. Maybe that would cause it to do this little number. I don't think it would. I think it would probably just come out public on that particular day. So that was the only thing that I could think that would make it do that, unless there's the same video is on YouTube twice somehow. Exactly the same video, just released one day. I wonder if that would make it do that as well, where you could release the video on the 26th, and maybe there's another version of this that's exactly the same that was released on the 27th, and then you get the double date that way as well. But anyway, the point is that there are some anomalies with this video, and the other anomaly that I pointed out earlier on with this video is if you actually go to the timestamp on this video, I've got to try not to hover over it, but if you notice, this is it right here, and it's on 222. Now on a normal video, like, so if I click this now, right, it's 222, this video now should be showing 221 right here for the playtime, the potential playtime. It does, usually what happens is YouTube knocks off a second. When you click on the video, it will give you another number that is 1 second less. Okay. Look, for instance, with this video here, 3:35 is the thumbnail length of the video. Click on it. Now look, it's at 3:34. Okay, it's dropped that second off. So this is this is actually very super interesting that this does not drop that second off. I don't know why it doesn't do it. I don't know how you program something to not do that. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, but it's super duper interesting. Anyway, so I got sidetracked there, but I thought that was worth a mention because there'll be people that will maybe saying like, well, that's wrong, Dan, what you said about that being on Ozzy's 227 numbers, released on 227 numbers. And well, I guess it was just worth pointing out. But as this timestamp seems to be important, this 149 will now become important. Let's listen to what she says at this scene. Okay, notice they've got the cigar. She's got the cigar all the way through this thing. It kind of reminds me of Clint Eastwood. Okay, and that reference back to the Dollars trilogy. Yeah, and obviously that's heavily into Back to the Future as well. Those films are heavily encoded in Back to the Future. But anyway, let's listen to what she says.
That's what Sister Teresa used to always say.
Sister Teresa, and she's talking about being the bride of Christ here. Okay, Sister Teresa, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, let's look at Mother Teresa then and see if there's any kind of connection with Mother Teresa to this. So Mother Teresa's birthday, I don't know if I've got Mother Teresa in here. I thought I did somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Mother Teresa, okay. Interesting with the death date, okay, which is September the 5th. So if you go to Back to the Future, September the 5th is the night of the dance in number 3, and this is actually when the clock starts running at this point. That's kind of interesting. But anyway, if we backtrack to her birthday, August the 26th, look at the numbers that are in here. They've got the 26 with Madonna with the 6226 gematria. We've got the 82 in here as well with the 820. Superficially, of course, and then the 191 as well with the Hoover Dam. So this is really interesting. And the notice, look at her habit here with the Virgin Mary colors, okay, for Mother Teresa. So, and obviously she's a nun, and we're just looking at two nuns there. They're both dressed up as nuns, Madonna and Mother Teresa in the actual funeral rites thing. Okay, so if we're going to do some number jumps here with this. Okay, so let's do the number jump right here. Her birthday through to this 820, 41999. So obviously if you clicked on one more day, you'd get to 4200 even, 42,000 sorry even, which is pretty mental as well. But let's just keep it on we're just going to keep with the 419 stuff. So the 419 stuff again is super interesting, because I'm like, okay, so we're dealing with her talking about being the bride of Christ. So we want to look at, well, obviously the mother and the son at this point. Okay, so we want to look at Rocco Ritchie as well and see how he ties into this number. Now notice at that point in the video we were at 149, okay, in the funeral rites video. Let's look at, where have we got it here? Come on, let's look at, I don't even know what this one is. Let me look at this. No, this is something different. This is something different. Hang on. What have I done with his blooming number jump here? Got a whole bunch of. Hang on. I don't know what I've done with his number jump now. Where was it? Getting all excitable there for a second. 820, so that's hers. Here it is, right next. It's right next door. Sorry, it's right next door. It's just because I don't have it clicked on with the end date. So we're going to backtrack on this. Let me click the end date in so you can see this 914. So the 914 tying in with the 419 of Mother Teresa, the Bride of Christ, in a funeral rites thing. Okay, on the time setting of 149. Now this is again really interesting, because I'm thinking to myself, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking 194 ties in with Donald Trump's ear wound, and it ties into a certain scene in Back to the Future, which we're going to go to in just a second. But this is actually, we don't want that on. All we needed to do was click that. Sorry, got the wrong number up here again. But 8/11/2000 is Rocco Ritchie's birthday, Madonna's son and Guy Ritchie's son together, okay? Obviously with the Ritchie on the end. Now what you'll notice is 820, okay, 914 is our date. Where's this Back to the Future? So you'll notice that in Back to the Future, this scene is heavily encoded, right, with numbers. We've got all the pie stuff in here, the picture of pie and everything. But when the lightning came down, when we first see this, in fact, this line comes out very close to this. And this is Donald Trump's ear. I've done this decode before. So we've got the 9 with the ear getting shot with the lightning bolt. Okay. This is the number 1 here. 1, 9, and where is the 4? Well, as they pan the camera, the way that the fire trails are lit on these lines, the way they've set this up is that when they pan, they're getting this number 4 as well in the street here. Okay, so 194, if we go to Donald Trump's ear wound, July the 13th, you'll see it's the 194th day of the year. You'll notice that it's 171, yeah, with the palindromic Diana birthday here. Yeah, this is essentially when Donald Trump was reborn. That kind of, because he was kind of, they kept saying he was lagging, you know, and suddenly as soon as he had that event, you know, all of a sudden he was sort of reborn at that point. And we had also that Doc is, well, you can't really see him, but he's right here and he's doing the fist pump. He's got his fist up in the air, just like Donald Trump does, where he comes up with the fist, fight, 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 or whatever he says. Okay, so what is interesting about this scene, though, tying this 194 now, so this is the rebirth of Marty, yeah, the son, the rebirth of Donald Trump again as well, and this is Doc's car here. This is a Packard 8. And actually what we needed to do, let's just junk all that a second, is that this is a Packard 8 here, and the 11 fire trail gives us the 811, which is, again, Rocco Ritchie's birthday. So this is just absolutely fascinating how all this ties together. So Rocco Ritchie in here is now tying in with Madonna and his age, which is 914, yeah? So his age is tying into this 811, and on the death of Madonna, potentially on 820, which would be the rebirth or the birth of the Christ Rocco Ritchie, 9, 1, and this 4 that's in here. Okay? Unbelievable that that's right there, so to speak. Anyway, I will just mention one other thing while we're here. So we're going to get kind of off the 419 stuff for just a second. But Mickey Rooney is the Atomic Kid. This is the dude who's the Atomic Kid in this scene. So you'll note that this is playing the Atomic Kid at the theatre here. If we go from Mickey Rooney's birthday, right, he's got the 923 birthday, interesting stuff. This is also a switchover date for Virgo into Libra, which is the Virgin Mary into the cross sign, the balance of Christ. Anyway, if you go from his birthday through to 820, look at this number, 38318. It's got Diana's death date in the middle of it. We were just doing, in Die Another Day, we were doing these numbers. We were doing them. We had the 3883 palindromic number, and we also had the 831 with Die Another Day. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. So this is, again, crazy with that reference with the Atomic Kid there. And there's obviously more numbers that are involved in that, but, you know, I just thought that was superficially, where do I put that in a video now? I just came across this, so it's had to go in this video. It would have been better if it had gone back in with the previous video. Anyway, what else we got in here? Let me show you a couple more things, right? I do want to talk about this. I do want to talk about this number. I don't know if I necessarily need to talk about this one right now. But when we went through, yeah, let me just re-talk about this very quickly, because of this is going to show up again. This 2-1 in a minute is going to show up. when we did Madonna's birthday through to this potential death date, it was this number right here. And this number right here is the 21st Lucas number. Okay. Now, it's got some other interesting stuff in it. But this is her number jump, right? Through. 21st Lucas number. Why is that important? Because Lucas starts on 213. So it's starting on 21. When you get to the 10th Lucas number, it's 123. And also, if you tot up all the way through to the 10th Lucas number, the total for all those numbers is 321. So, back with Ozzy again, that was super important. But this 2-1 is a marker for the beginning. And also with Madonna, the 12 and the idea of the clock, and the 12 o'clock hour, which is a beginning and an end point. Okay, super duper important with all this stuff with Back to the Future and clocks and everything. So the 12 and 21 was super important. And if you recall, I did the video on the song from Led Zeppelin, Custard Pie. Okay, we had all the pie. We've had so many pie references. I don't know what else to say, but from that song's release, which was 22475. Okay, so it's I was getting that number confused up with some Madonna stuff with this particular number, because it's that song was released on 22475. So you can see there's a kind of a tie in there with the number, so to speak, 76, 75 and the 224 instead of 244. But from that release date of that through to 8/19, which again is important. It's the day before this. That is Matthew Perry's birthday, which obviously ties in to a couple of 3 days after Madonna's 8/16 birthday, but it's also the day prior to 8/20. So this is why this is important. Again, I forgot to mention in the Golden Eye tank scene, the tank bursts through a bunch of Perrier water, and that could obviously be a reference back to Matthew Perry. Obviously, he has ties back with the Hoover Dam, with the Falls Rush In film. He has a ton of ties. And also he has a tie that we also have the Perrier water in the Blast from the Past store as well, that ties back in with Matthew Perry. So the Perrier water, super duper interesting. But anyway, this number jump here happened to come out at whatever that number jump was. I'm hoping I'm getting that right. That may not be completely right, but anyway, there was a number jump and it came out, when you click through it, it came out at 2112 prime. Okay, so it was a really interesting prime number. And again, I thought about this number right here being the 21st Lucas prime number. Depending on the way you count Lucas numbers, you could make that you could make that number 22 as well. And you can always kind of fudge things a day or two when you're counting up, because I'm just using the method that the mathematicians use for counting Lucas numbers at this point in time, right, with this particular decode. Anyway, so the 21, super duper important, the beginning and the end of this thing. And obviously the 32, when you're reading this number backward, is Magic Johnson's number, the 32 that's in this number as well. So with all that scribbled right there, let me now get rid of that. What was interesting was, let's see if I got it, here it is, was I did Guy Ritchie, Madonna's ex-husband, the father of Rocco Ritchie. I did his birthday through to Mother Teresa's birthday, and lo and behold, look at this, 21200. So this palindromic 2112 showing up again. I thought that was pretty interesting. let's just go back. Sorry to jump around all over the place. Let's just go back to, oh, hang on a minute. Let's just do this one real quick as well. This is Into the Groove, the song that goes along with this whole thing with Madonna with, oh, bloody hell. Desperately Seeking Susan. Okay, that ties in with Magic Johnson and ties everything together. So this song, the release date for the song, again, look at the numbers we're getting here through to 9-1, through to the Hoover, no, this is wrong. What am I doing here? Why have I got 9197 in? This is no, I tell you why that's in there. That's what I was looking at. Okay, I was looking at Diana's death date. So I was going from Into the Groove. This is Diana's death date, and again, that's what's interesting about that. Get rid of that. Click on. So these are the dates that we're interested in, okay? And the 491 was coming up with this as well, okay? Into the following day there, the birth, okay? Diana, and then the birth with the 491. Yeah, sorry, that was that. And obviously 92. We got to remember 92 is super duper important. In fact, I think it's more likely that this would happen with the Hoover Dam 9-1 into 9-2, because 29 is a perfect balance number within Lucas numbers. It's the 7th Lucas number. Okay, so this is actually, thinking about that's actually more interesting now. Yeah, again, but what we're talking about is the death of Diana in a lot of this stuff as well, encoded in here. So the fudgery of being able to add in this end date thing, and also be able to like click on to the next day as well, because we're dealing with a 12 o'clock hour reset idea, is kind of handy for fudging everything to fit with the numbers. Okay, here's another interesting one. Okay, before we come back to Rocco Ritchie, Guy Ritchie's birthday through to this Madonna death day. Okay, 2799. Let's go to the following day for this as well. Now we've got the 20 with the 8. We've got the actual, see that? The death date is the next day in the numerology here. I thought that was interesting as well. I mean, no, don't go that. I thought that was super duper interesting. Click on to the next day, and we've got the same the numerology coming up for this day. What else did I have in here? Let's do the Rocco Ritchie before we get done with this. I'm trying to think if there was anything else in there that I wanted to talk about. I don't think so. Let's do the Rocco Ritchie thing now, because I don't think. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to Rocco Ritchie. Now, something you'll notice with this number jump, again, going back to the 19th with Matthew Perry, and this whole lot of bump here. Remember that when we were spelling out pi before, 913 was well interesting with pi. Well, with pi spelled like this. Well, actually, let me do it. Hang on a minute. Let me make sense of this for you. So if you did a P, the reverse 9, then you've got the 1, and then instead of a 3, you do your reverse 3. You'll notice that these numbers are reverses, and it gives you the word pi. Okay, so this was also interesting with Rocco. 139 is also an important balance number as well, but we're not going there with that right now. So the pi was interesting, and then let's get rid of this. Do I need this? No. If you notice where we're at here, and you recall back to the start of Back to the Future with the clocks, yeah, what we've got is we've got 25 years, 8 days prior to Madonna potentially dying, right? 25, or the rebirth of Rocco Ritchie. So the rebirth would be how late he is for being born. You know, he's been in the mother all this time, so to speak. You know, just like poor old Prince Charles was never king, you know, for such a long time, you know, being controlled by the mother. So this idea of the mother dying is the idea of the rebirth of man, so to speak. 819. So anyway, so this 819, right? The day before 820. Look at this. 825 here with the 25 years, 8 days. Start of Back to the Future. The clocks are ringing at. They're ringing at 8, but Doc says they're all 25 minutes off. So Marty is late for school. It's 8:25, and so clicking into the next day, being late. Okay, let me show you something with that gematria. So what does Marty say? He says, I'm late for school. This is what he is. He's late for school. 149 on the gematria. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So this Rocco Ritchie thing, maybe this is finally the decode for the 825. I don't know how many times I've looked at 825 with the with Marty being late. And actually a lot of these decodes, you know, we've looked at them so many times and they've popped out on other, you know, you can pick out other dates for them. So okay, potentially it could be a different date that we're looking at, really. I don't know. Anyway, I think I've done everything that was super duper important and needed in there. If I just go back to this again, the idea of this, you know, the clock tower, the clock stops. Yeah, the clock is that connection with Madonna, and boom. Rocco Ritchie, Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly, they're all reborn at this point. Okay. All right, I've still got a couple more really cool decodes to do, and I still haven't jumped in on the Pulp Fiction stuff yet. Oh dear. Okay. Thanks for watching this one. Yeah, thanks for watching this one, and God bless, and I'll catch on another one fairly soon. All right, cheers. All right, bye.